What's going on, YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my, Mothra comic book reviews, the second one ever, in a review of Mothra, Queen of the Monsters, issue number 2. This one is story by Sophie Campbell, artwork by Matt Frank and Sophie Campbell, letters by Nathan Whittick, and editor Jake Williams. So this is the second issue in the series. I covered the first issue last month. If you want to hear my thoughts on that, you can go ahead and check that thing out. But I do think it is cool that Mothra is getting her own little solo comic book. It feels long overdue, like here in the States. So at the end of the previous issue, we had the two sisters, Emmy and Mira, and their whole thing was they have like some magical connection similar to that of the Shobijin, the priestesses, who were kind of training them both. And basically in the present time, Mothra was defeated but never laid an egg in order to help, continue her phoenix-like life cycle and, stop Antra and also another monster, which was kind of teased in it, but we didn't get confirmation with what it was, which was none other than Megaguirus, which we'll find out in this thing. But we also find out so that they have to kind of go back in time. So at the end of the last issue, they head back in time, to the time of the dinosaurs, where there is a Mothra egg on standby, and as they travel there, we see things like little Anguruses, we see Gorosaurus, we see the Dragonfly Queen, as they call her, which is Megaguirus, and what Megaguirus is doing is senses energy and sucks the life of it just to grow stronger, which Megaguirus did that in Godzilla versus Megaguirus, but again, it's more insect focused kaiju. So you got Mothra, Antra, and Megaguirus. Although you have little Gorosaurus and you have little Anguirus, is, if you can call them. I don't know what the size in terms of their scaling is, because sometimes it's a little bit hard to kind of tell. But you can see the Gorosaurus and Anguirus species right there, or at least ancestors of them. So they go ahead and they come across the Shobijin and they find Mothra's egg, and they're kind of in a risky situation, because as soon as they kind of start to conjure up the magic chant to send this egg to the present day, we see that Megaguirus finds them. However, they're kind of in a risky situation, so as they're doing the spell, they end up bringing Megaguirus to the future, which also ties back into their stuff in the past too. So it's one big giant time loop. One of them spots their younger self there. The young Mothra larvae hatches, and it is probably the most adorable looking Mothra larvae I think we've ever gotten. I like the yellow color palette right there with it. It just looks freaking adorable. So, but of course, Mothra in the present time fights off against Megaguirus. So again, this is kind of how their world went to crap, with Antra and Megaguirus and all that too. There's flashes to them as kids as well, and unfortunately one of them kind of knew about it and it was I knew there was something going on here, but I wasn't aware that we were the ones who kind of brought Megaguirus to the future and helped kind of doom things by causing that to cause Mothra some problems and help defeat Mothra. So, but the thing is, though, they still have their Mothra larva, and they're going to have to kind of train it to combat both threats of Antra and Megaguirus, and that's basically kind of where the issue ends. Megaguirus is growing stronger, seems to be okay with Antra right now. We don't really get much in terms of combat of Antra versus Megaguirus, at least from what I can tell. It seems that the two of them were just kind of yeah, let's go after Mothra a bit. So, but then again, maybe there kind of is sometimes it kind of looks like there is, but not much. Just based on where the art style. So yeah, you see a little bit of them fighting in there too. I guess I was mistaken, but I thought this is a pretty fun little issue right here. I think it is better than the first one, mostly because there is more monster action. When you get Matt Frank involved on the art style, there's always going to be some pretty cool looking kaiju battles there. So I'm, like I said, it says Sophie Campbell, it says page was it 5 or 6, but it's mostly Matt Frank kind of doing the drawing while Sophie does the script writing too, with this particular issue. And like I said, Matt Frank is really good at drawing kaiju comics, been doing it for many years, all the way back to Rulers of Earth, or maybe some stuff beforehand. So you're gonna get good quality artwork in terms of that stuff. So well known within the Godzilla fan base too. But again, this is a Mothra focused comic book. Some cool little Easter eggs. Nice to see that kind of pay off. We'll see how their little training montages are going to go with this new Mothra larva. Maybe it'll tie back into the rebirth of Mothra. The whole time travel angle feels straight out of rebirth of Mothra. Which one was that? 3, where they go back in time with King Ghidorah and the dinosaurs or whatever it was. So I don't know. It's been a minute since I watched the Rebirth of Mothra trilogies. But they always kind of some of them kind of I kind of forget things. They don't stick to my memory quite as well as some of the other Godzilla films. I've seen them a few times, but after I'm done watching them, I do kind of forget some things. So I remember like the two like priestesses, and they have their twin sister, or their third sister, who's kind of the evil one. And you have Ghidorah, like they travel back in time to the dinosaurs. The second one has that weird thing that like can heal people by peeing or whatever. So I don't know, I'm getting off track, but I think, like I said, if you're a Mothra fan, definitely must like pick up stuff for you, because when else are you going to get a Mothra comic book? Like, this is like kind of it for right now. I do wonder if Godzilla will inevitably show up within the pages of this thing, because Mothra has this tendency to show up within the pages of Godzilla storylines, but we haven't seen Godzilla cameo in like a Mothra like project. But at the same time, it's like you kind of want Mothra to kind of do her own thing, but at the same time, part of me is kind of like, yeah, it would be kind of cool if Godzilla does make a cameo in one of these storylines to kind of help her out, like she has aided him over the years in many different, adaptations. There's been times where they've been in conflict, and there's times where they work together. So they do have an interesting like relationship in terms of like fellow monsters. So yeah, that'd be kind of neat to see. But anyways, decent stuff so far. Is this the strongest thing IDW's put out? I wouldn't say so. I think the best thing they put out in recent memory is the Here There Be Dragons series, probably, or the War for Humanity. There's been a lot of good stuff right here, but again, this is a pretty good one. Artwork's pretty solid all around, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next with it. So those are my quick thoughts on it. What did you think of it? Post your comments down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for more content, hit that bell for notifications, all our fun stuff. I got one more comic book to cover for this week, and I'll be all set, as well as after the movie. You're probably going to get all these things just back to back to back to back to back in time for this whole like Easter week. I don't know what I'll post first, because like I'm literally like gonna get ready to go see the movie within a few minutes, but I'm like, you know what, I'll quickly record these videos. It's Good Friday, and I'll get ready to post them all. So yeah, hope you all have a great weekend, great Easter time, and I'll see you all later.